How many games do you think backup goalie Jake Allen will have to play this season in order to keep Carey Price fresh?
I think it's going to depend on whether we have a season. And then if we do have a season, how many games are going to be happening? I mean, if they're talking about best case scenario, maybe happening in January, when is it going to end? How many games are they going to play? And then with the rotation and the scheduling, if they have a condensed season where they're trying to get so many games in per week, that's going to have a real bearing on Jake Allen and how much of the load he's going to carry. The good news is he's obviously been able to perform and do the job. So that's going to give some relief to the organization, knowing that, okay, Carey, you need a little bit of time off. We know what you can do when you're rested, and let's go with that. But I think everything is still up in the air as far as, okay, what's the schedule going to look like, and then they can punch in projections of who's going to play when, and how many they're going to play.
I think if it was a regular season and there was no COVID-19 around it, I would like to see Jake Allen play 25 to 30 games and really kind of give Carey Price a good break, because he hasn't had that opportunity to have a break like that and be able to have someone that the team relies on when Carey Price has been overworked. And then he can go, if they do make the playoffs, in a good position. But as Rick said, there's so many different factors that are coming into what next season's going to look like. Will there be, for a point in time, kind of what the MLS did was only Canadian teams face Canadian teams, what the travel schedule will be like. Obviously much easier to travel between Toronto, Montreal, and Ottawa. And then when you go to the West Coast, a completely different story. But I would rely on Jake Allen more often than not, because he's able to do the job and give Carey Price a little bit of a break.
Yeah, as you guys are saying, when you wonder if there even will be a next NHL season, you wonder if the NHL owners can afford to play games with no fans in the stands for an entire season. I don't think they can, but I think that Jake Allen has to play at least a quarter of the games, 1 out of every 4 games, and sometimes maybe even, depending if it's a tough stretch. And as you're saying, the schedule, we could see schedules where they're playing 5 games in a week or something like that. But having him there is just such a good insurance policy for the Canadiens. It was a good move by Marc Bergevin. We saw what a rested Carey Price could do in the playoffs this year. Previous seasons down the stretch, they've just played him, hoping to get into the playoffs. And if they had gotten into the playoffs after that grind, I think Carey Price would have been just exhausted. So I think he's got to play at least a quarter of the games, however many games that is, to just give Carey Price the rest. He's not getting any younger. The injury things, and it's been so long since they've had a guy where Carey Price, when he has the night off, he knows he's not going to get called off the bench. Just like my dog.
They're not agreeing with you again, Stu.
They're on your side. I'd love to see it under a normal circumstance this season. I'd love to see him play 30 games. I think we saw what Carey Price can do when he's rested, and I think finally the Canadiens have found a reliable backup goalie that can take a fair amount of the load. I hope there's a decent
Montreal connection too. I mean, Jake Allen played for the Montreal Juniors, so he knows the city a bit, he knows the area a bit. He'll be comfortable here, and I think that's important. And Marc Bergevin struck out with his backup goalie last year. It didn't work out too well, but this is a proven guy, a Stanley Cup ring, has played the backup role last season with the Blues. He understands everything that comes along with it, and so they got Marc Bergevin didn't sign him to play him 10 games.
Yeah, well, I hope to the hockey gods that there is a semblance of a season this coming season. I hope there's many things that happen in December or January.
I hope we can all see each other in person too.
Exactly.
All right, go to hockeyinsideout.com now and check out this week's full episode.